It's crazy how much backlash often comes with like speaking about Kemetic yoga and its relevance and its realness. I do want to preface this by saying that, we don't have ancient texts in the same way that a culture like India does, that's thousands of years old, well documented, and available for people to research and study. A lot of our history in Africa was stolen, burned, you know, destroyed. And so we haven't had the same luxury of just being able to point to a book and say, oh, it's right here. We've had to piece together our history and try to make sense of it as best we can. And so Kemetic yoga also comes, in a sense, from some of that. I often think about and say, like, man, I wonder what was in the Library of Alexandria, like what we might have learned or known, but the Romans burnt that to the ground. The modern practice of yoga comes from the study and the sort of piecing together of history, of philosophy, of hieroglyphs and art, and transcribing and translating sacred texts to try to figure out, okay, what was the intention here? It's really like putting the clues together. So the modern practice of Kemetic yoga, Kemet being the original name for Egypt. So we're talking about yoga that comes from ancient Africa, ancient Egypt, um, one of the most incredible civilizations that's ever been on the planet to date. Um, and so piecing that information together and trying to make the best possible sense of it to bring to us the modern version of this practice, which, I have to shout out Dr. Asar Hapi, Sarah Rahotep, which are two of the founders of this practice in the 60s, 70s, at the time also when we are looking at an Afrocentric movement where it's a time where we're reclaiming our Blackness, right? So it's very powerful to understand the context of those things, to understand sort of like the emergence of Kemetic yoga in a modern world.